This is the brutal truth about building strength, getting stronger, about taking care of your body, about all these things that no one is truly going to tell you because they're scared of hurting your feelings, or they want you to buy some silly product, or I don't even know. This is the brutal truth you need to know. The truth is, no one is actually coming to save you. And the funny thing about that is that I have spent a long time telling myself, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start doing long form content on my YouTube channel. I'm going to start actually doing like my own videos like this, right? Because I've been wanting to do something like this. I have an email list, and if you're not on my email list, you probably should be on there. It's called the Inner Circle email list, where I just talk about these things that like don't really make social media. And a lot of this stuff is harder truths and things that I believe women really need to hear. And I say all this to say is that I've been telling myself, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to do this even though it makes me uncomfortable. I'm going to do something that makes me uncomfortable, it makes me a little bit nervous, makes me feel a little bit like an imposter, like many of you feel like when it comes to building muscle, to getting stronger, to going to the gym, to buying workout clothes, to being seen in a gym when you don't feel like your best, to all those things. I've been doing the same thing, coming up with every excuse to not start this. And I was like, you know what? I can't keep living not in congruence, in the opposite of that, living opposite of what I'm telling you guys to show up for yourselves when I can't even show up and it's taken me this long to finally do this. So here we go. So if you don't know me, I'm Maddie Martinez. Welcome to my channel. And I want to talk about like the hardest truth there is to understand the importance of when it comes to building muscle. And if you are already someone in the gym doing your thing, like there's nothing more affirming, like it is to me, than hearing something, a code of ethics, I guess you could say, a mindset or something that like you struggle with or whatever it is, hearing it from someone else who also believes in that or is disciplined in that way, or getting reaffirmed about why you do what you do, why you choose to live your life the way you do. I love being reaffirmed. Like I love being validated. That's something I'm working on, validating myself. But I think it's important. So even if you have not stepped into a gym and want to, even if you have never tracked your protein and you want to get stronger, even if you are already in the gym working out hard, you consider yourself a muscle mommy, you lift weights consistently, you've been lifting for years, this video will probably help you anyway. And if you know someone who wants to make a change and hasn't yet, send them this video because it's probably for them as well. It is for them. But the one thing that I would say from I call it like my near-death experience, and I don't know the words, unalive, I don't know if I should be saying that, but when I got really, really sick, and I've talked about this like 100 million times, sometimes I'm like, I probably should stop talking about it, but when I could not walk at the ripe age of 21, even before my 21st birthday, I could not walk, and I didn't want to wake up the next day because of how much pain I got into and all these things. Is I had to realize that no one was coming to save me at the end of the day. My parents tried helping me. I remember my mom was like making me breakfast and dinner, and I was so weak I couldn't even hold a 16-ounce water bottle. I remember my boyfriend at the time, like he was taking care of me and just kind of helping me. I didn't have a will to do anything, and doctors weren't helping me, all these things. And I realized that I could keep going down that path in like at 21, who's going to believe you when you're that sick, and they don't understand, you're so young, all those things. And again, you don't have to be, not again, but you don't have to be going through all these hard things to learn something from this. I think the biggest learnings that we can have is learning from other people, right? I don't want any of you to have to go through this type of experience to learn the lessons that I learned. Learn from me, and so you don't have to go through this. But the doctors weren't saving me. My parents couldn't save me. My boyfriend couldn't save me. Like at the end of the day, the only person who actually saved me was freaking me. It was me. And I am here on the other side 7 years later, not medicated, don't need medication anymore. I have full control, I would say, over my health, over my life, all of these things. And that cold, hard realization is that no one's going to save you but yourself. It kind of stings a little bit because then you have to accept that your reality is also your doing. And this video can go in 100 million different ways, but I want to stick to it when it comes to the importance of building muscle. As someone that went through a diagnosis, inaccurate diagnosis, misdiagnosis at a young age, I kind of experienced what it felt like to be like 80, if I had to put it there. They misdiagnosed me with psoriatic arthritis, but nonetheless, I felt like I had like an 100-year-old body. I couldn't barely walk. I had toilet seat risers. I would go to bed crying because I knew I'd wake up in the morning and feel like absolute dog poop. So I felt like what it was like to be 80, and I had lost so much muscle mass that regular activities were freaking hard for me. I remember my sister asked if I wanted to go to a concert, and I remember having to tell her because she was gone at school and didn't see what was happening to me at home. But I remember I was like, I can't go because I'd have to stand for a long time. If there were steps, like steps were a no-go. Like, it just was impossible for me to enjoy life when I was that weak, that fragile, that like a wind blowing in the wrong direction could have knocked me over. So yeah, I felt like what it was like to be like 80 when I was like 20. And because I felt that and how weak I was, I knew like there are people that feel like this all the time. And if I want to stop my body from this ever happening again, ensure that I will be strong and resilient and can live life the way I want to live it and not feel like I don't want to wake up the next morning. Like again, no one is going to save you but yourself. And I think a lot of women, in particular, a lot of women can get really disgruntled by that because even myself, I felt for like a long time, I fell into this victim mentality of when I got diagnosed, my mindset was not like this. I was more like, oh my God, this happened to me. What am I going to do? I'm just going to have to take medication for the rest of my life. Like when I was sick, I was falling into that victim mentality of this happened to me and this is why I'm like this. Like people would ask my boyfriend like, oh, what happened? Oh, she's sick. Yeah. Like it was just like giving in to what happened and like not taking any like not so much accountability, but yes, accountability. Like I got sick and like maybe part of that was my fault, but also part of it was like I didn't know all the things I know now, but just understanding that like, yes, there are things that happen to us that are totally out of our control, but it is up to us to take the next step that we need to take to get to the healthiest version of ourselves. And, when we put all the excuses, because there are excuses in front of us, like, oh, I'm too scared to go to the gym. I don't want people to see me. I'm just really out of shape. I don't want to go yet. Or I'm too busy to meal prep. I'm too this, I'm too that. Like, again, like sometimes I was just saying this to my mentor the other day. I'm like, man, I wish I could just be a little bit naive to like the things that I know now about myself, my mindset, my body, my nervous system. I know that's a very hot buzzwordy word, but so many things I know to like why I act the way I act. And like sometimes things can't just be because I'm like, I know the deeper meaning behind this, the deeper reasoning why this is happening. But when we put all that to the side, is just to remember that, yeah, growth is freaking hard. Changing is freaking hard. Doing the harder thing is hard. Doing this, I'm kind of like, is this providing value? I don't know, but I'm going to keep talking about it because I know it's very, very important to hear regardless of if it's perfect or not. I'm just going to keep talking. But I say all that to say is that like, you have to keep remembering no matter what the goal is, like no one is coming to save you but yourself, with your body, with your health, with your life, with your finances, where you live, with your relationship, with your mindset, with your mental health, with everything. No one is coming to save you. My parents couldn't save me. My boyfriend couldn't save me. The doctors were not willing to help me the way I needed help. I had to make the decision of, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm going to keep figuring out. I'm going to keep going forward because At the end of the day, you only have yourself. You only have your body. I mean, do you want to live your life, the rest of your life, the way you're living if you're not happy about it now? Probably not. I can't. I mean, like, when I was really freaking sick, no. Again, I didn't want to wake up the next day. Of course, I didn't want to live that way. I wanted to actually feel good. Like, I remember going to, with a friend, it was like a plant thing where you like make a little terrarium. And I remember thinking about, are there going to be steps that I'm going to have to walk down or walk up? That was a real fear of mine. Do you think I think about that now? No, I don't think about that now. I think about all the cool hikes I've been on recently. That wouldn't have happened if I have not come to this realization that I had to save myself. I had to do the hard work. I had to take accountability for the things that maybe I didn't want to take accountability for. I had to do uncomfortable things, very uncomfortable things. I still choose to do uncomfortable things. And the more I choose to do uncomfortable things, the more comfortable I get. Just from this, I'm 11 minutes in. I was like, oh, this is kind of awkward doing this. But like, I don't really care because I know it's going to help someone do something better. And this gets like 0 views. It gets 0 views. Maybe I'll put this in my email and then you guys can watch it. But because I've said these things all before, but sometimes we really do need to hear the same thing over and over and over and over before we make the actual change. I mean, even like with therapy, how many times have I heard, and I'm in somatic therapy, but how many times have I heard the same thing over and over and over and over? And it was like some random person on TikTok that said it. And I was like, oh, duh. Now it makes sense. So sit with that. Like, keep saying to yourself, like, write it on a board. I need to update my board up there with the 3 things I know I'm working on right now because I like to see these things and visually see them every day and remind myself. But if you're not happy with where you're at, remember that no one's coming to save you. If you want to go to the gym but find another excuse, remember, no one is coming to save you. If you don't like your reality of your life, remember, no one is coming to save you. I think I'll end it there. So maybe that gave you some motivation. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. If you like this video, let me know. If you want me to talk about more topics, let me know. But I think I'll be doing more of these because I definitely, and if you don't know, I also have a podcast with my co-host and we talk about health and pop culture. And sometimes I'm on there, I'm like, I really want to go on a tangent about this. I think that's what I might start doing. And like I said, when you do things that make you uncomfortable, do them more often, they get more comfortable over time. Just like this. And also remember, no one is coming to save you. Thanks for watching.